During a party where everything seemed out of place, a rebellious teenager finds herself at the center of an unexpected moment. While everyone watches with indifference and laughter, she makes a decision that none of the adults around her had the courage to make. What she didn't expect was to hear, still wet, a phrase that would mark her life forever. You just changed your destiny. Sometimes the true turning point doesn't come from great events, but from a silent gesture that reveals who we really are. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is the Linda's Stories channel. I hope you enjoy this story. Joyce contemplated her reflection in the bedroom mirror, frowning as she examined a newly emerged pimple on the tip of her nose. With a dramatic sigh, she threw herself onto the bed. Her 17 years felt like an eternity of unsolvable problems. The bedroom ceiling, decorated with posters of indie bands, bore witness to her daily dramas. "Joyce, dinner is ready," her mother's voice echoed down the hallway. "I'm not hungry," she shouted back, returning to stare at her phone, a model outdated by 2 years, to her constant mortification. The school messaging group was buzzing with discussions about the new sneaker release that everyone was going to buy. Joyce already knew the response she would get from her parents if she asked for one. "You have a perfectly good pair of sneakers that we bought 6 months ago." As if they understood what it meant to be the only one without the trendy footwear. And to top off her perfect day, Lucas, the boy she had been infatuated with for months, walked past her in the hallway without even noticing her existence. The bedroom door opened softly. Sandra, her mother, entered with a plate of food and sat on the edge of the bed. "I thought you might be hungry anyway," she said, placing the plate on the bedside table. Sandra's eyes, marked with fine wrinkles at the corners, revealed patience cultivated over years of parenting. "Mum, you don't understand. Everyone is going to have those sneakers, and Lucas doesn't even know I exist," Joyce murmured, hugging her pillow. Sandra adjusted a strand of her daughter's purple hair, one of the many battles she chose not to fight. "You know, when I was your age, I also thought my problems were the biggest in the world. That pimple, that party, that boy." "It's different," Joyce interrupted, rolling her eyes. "Maybe." Sandra smiled understandingly. "But one day you'll look back and realize that these things that seem so important now are just a small part of what really matters in life." "You always say that," Joyce grumbled, "because it's true." Sandra caressed her daughter's arm. "Tomorrow is Aunt Elaine's wedding. Don't forget." Joyce groaned, sinking her face further into the pillow. "Do I really have to go? They're going to keep asking me about college and career as if I should have my entire life decided at 17. "It's just a few hours, and it means a lot to Elaine to have the family together. No one will miss me. My cousins will be looking at me like I'm an alien because of my hair and piercings." Sandra got up, sighing. "Sometimes we need to do things for others, not for ourselves. It's part of growing up." Before leaving, she added, "Dinner is on the nightstand. Try to eat something." When the door closed, Joyce felt a pang of guilt. She knew her mother was trying to help, but no one seemed to really understand how difficult it was not to fit in anywhere. The banquet hall gleamed with floral arrangements and soft lighting. Family and friends mingled in lively groups, while ambient music filled the conversational spaces. Joyce adjusted the simple black dress, her small rebellion against the pastel colour code her mother had suggested. Her purple hair and the various bracelets on her wrist completed the look that set her apart as the black sheep among the well-behaved cousins. "Joyce, it's been so long!" Her cousin Ingrid approached, impeccable in a pale pink dress, latest model cell phone in hand. "Your hair is interesting." "Thank you," she replied dryly, knowing it wasn't a genuine compliment. Soon, a small group of cousins formed. They all seemed to have their lives perfectly planned out. "I'm going to study law in the capital. I'm already in the 3rd phase of the admission tests," boasted Tommy. "Medicine for me. Dad is already talking to colleagues to secure my internship at the hospital," Ingrid commented. "And you, Joyce, still undecided?" Tommy asked, with that slightly condescending tone that she so detested. I'm exploring options, she replied vaguely. The truth was that nothing attracted her enough to dedicate years of study. While her cousins discussed universities and careers, Joyce slipped away seeking a quiet place. She found refuge near the pool of the banquet hall. The area was partially occupied by older guests resting at the tables. Joyce settled into a lounge chair, put on her headphones, and closed her eyes, letting the loud music drown out the world around her. The anguished lyrics of her favourite band seemed to be the only ones that truly understood how she felt. She couldn't tell how long she remained like that, isolated in her bubble of thoughts, until a nearby commotion made her open her eyes. People were laughing and pointing at the pool. Removing her headphones, Joyce realised the reason for the excitement. An elderly lady was in the water, fully dressed. The woman, who seemed to be in her 80s, was not drowning. She was trying to cling to the edge of the pool but slipped every time she exerted force to get out. Her elegant navy blue dress floated around her, heavy with water, and her white hair, once perfectly arranged, was soaked. "Someone help her!" Joyce shouted, looking around. The nearby guests just watched, some discreetly laughing, others commenting without moving. A young man was filming with his phone. "She must have mistaken the way to the bathroom," someone remarked. "Probably had one of those senior moments of confusion," said another, laughing. Joyce couldn't believe what she was seeing. Without thinking twice, she took off her shoes and jumped into the pool, still dressed. The cold water enveloped her, but she swam determinedly to the lady. "It's okay. I'll help you," she said, putting her arm around the elderly woman's shoulders. "Thank you, dear. I slipped on the edge while trying to get my handkerchief that fell," the lady explained, her voice trembling with cold and shame. Joyce guided her to the pool stairs and with effort helped her climb out. Both emerged, drenched. Finally, seeing the situation resolved, some guests approached, offering towels. "The bathroom is over there," Joyce indicated, ignoring the looks and whispers. "Let's dry off." In the venue's luxurious bathroom, Joyce helped the lady settle in. An employee of the location brought extra towels and offered to fetch dry clothes. "My name is Wilma," introduced the elderly woman, while trying to dry her hair with a towel. "I am Carlo's aunt, the groom." "I am Joyce, Elaine's niece." She turned on the hairdryer and began to help Wilma dry off. "I can't believe no one did anything to help you. They just watched as if it were a show." Wilma smiled sadly. "You know, dear, since I've gotten older, I've noticed something curious about people. When I was young like you, I didn't notice it, but now—" She paused, adjusting the towel around her shoulders. "When I need help carrying groceries, or when I hope someone will give up their seat on the bus, I see how many people are so absorbed in themselves that they become indifferent to the suffering of others." Joyce paused for a moment, the dryer still in her hands. "We live in an era where we are encouraged to satisfy our own desires at all costs, without considering if it might harm someone," Wilma continued. "Social media, advertisements, everything tells us we should think of ourselves first. What to wear, what to buy, how to look good. And in the process we forget to look around." The words sunk deep into Joyce. She remembered the countless arguments with her parents, always centred on her own needs, the tennis shoes she wanted so much, the new cell phone, the complaints about the house rules. She had never stopped to consider the sacrifices they made, the extra hours her father worked, the tiredness in her mother's eyes after a long day. "I can really see how this isolates us from the needs and sufferings of others," Joyce admitted, feeling a lump in her throat. "I don't want to be like those people." Wilma watched her with wise and kind eyes. "By acknowledging that you don't want to be like that, you just changed your own destiny." Her wrinkled hand touched Joyce's young face. "I'm sure you will be a good person who cares about those around you. Your helping me today already shows that your heart is compassionate. Keep on this path and I'm sure you will become a great person." Something warm grew in Joyce's chest, a mixture of shame for her past behaviour and a new determination. "Thank you, Mrs. Wilma. I think I needed to hear that." After helping Wilma regain her composure, Joyce changed into a borrowed dress and returned to the party. Her eyes met her mother's from across the room, a look of concern that quickly turned into pride when other guests explained what had happened. In the weeks following the party, Sandra noticed subtle changes in Joyce. The teenager started coming down for dinner without being called, engaging in family conversations with genuine interest. One day she surprised everyone by offering to help her father fix the backyard fence. On a Sunday afternoon, while mother and daughter washed the dishes together, a new routine, Joyce broke the comfortable silence. "Mum, remember when you said that one day I would look back and see that my worries were small?" Sandra smiled, passing a plate for her daughter to dry. "Yes, I remember." "I don't think I had to wait that long." Joyce methodically organised the cutlery. "After that day at the party with Mrs. Wilmer, I started to think differently. I noticed the change," Sandra commented softly. "You seem more present, less restless." Joyce nodded. "I was so obsessed with things that weren't even that important. The new sneakers, the phone." She paused. "And I never stopped to think about how much you and Dad work, how much you sacrifice for me." Sandra wiped her hands on her apron and turned to her daughter. "Growing up is precisely that, Joyce. Expanding our vision beyond ourselves." "I've been thinking a lot about the future too," Joyce continued. "About what I want to do. And have you come to any conclusion?" "I think so." Joyce's eyes shone with a new certainty. "I want to study medicine, not for the status or money like my cousin Ingrid. I want to help people, to truly make a difference." Sandra hugged her daughter, taking in the soft scent of her shampoo. "You are already making a difference, dear." The university campus was buzzing with anxious freshmen on the first day of class. Joyce, now freshly 18, walked among the historic buildings of the medical school. Her hair, now a more discreet shade of blue, was tied back in a practical ponytail. "Joyce!" A familiar voice called out to her. Turning around, she saw Mrs. Wilmer waving from a nearby bench, accompanied by a middle-aged man. "Mrs. Wilmer!" she exclaimed in surprise, moving closer to embrace the elderly woman. "What are you doing here?" "This is my son, Dr. Arthur," Wilmer introduced. "He is a professor here at the college." The man extended his hand. "My mother told me about you. I was impressed with your attitude at the wedding." Joyce blushed slightly. "Anyone would do the same." "No, dear, not everyone would," Wilmer gently corrected. "Arthur told me you would be starting the course today, and I made sure to come and welcome you." "How did you know I would be here?" Wilmer smiled enigmatically. "Old intuition, perhaps. Or maybe I talked to your Aunt Elaine." Dr. Arthur checked his watch. "I need to go to my class. It was a pleasure meeting you, Joyce. I'm sure we'll see each other in the corridors." With a wave, he headed towards one of the buildings. Joyce sat next to Wilmer on the bench. Autumn was beginning to paint the leaves of the surrounding trees, creating a golden and red scene. "I'm nervous," she confessed. "It's a long road ahead." Wilmer took her wrinkled hand in hers. "Remember what I said that day? About changing your destiny?" Joyce nodded. "Some people spend their entire lives without realizing they can choose to be different, to do things differently," continued Wilmer. "Others realize it too late. You had this realization early, and that's a gift." "Sometimes I still catch myself being selfish," admitted Joyce. "I still get upset when things don't go my way. No one is perfect, dear. What matters is the direction we choose to follow, the small decisions we make every day." A group of students passed by them, excited about the start of classes. Joyce watched them, feeling like part of something bigger now. "I brought something for you," said Wilmer, taking a small package out of her bag. "A good luck charm for your journey." Joyce opened the package, revealing a delicate silver brooch in the shape of an outstretched hand. "To remind you that there's always someone in need of a helping hand," explained Wilmer, "and that we can always be that person for someone." Joyce pinned the brooch to her backpack, where it would remain visible every day. "Thank you, Mrs. Wilmer, for everything." The elderly woman smiled, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of decades. Remember, dear, it is not the grand gestures that define who we are, but the small daily choices. And you have already made the most important one. You chose to look beyond yourself. The university bell rang, announcing the start of classes. Joyce stood up, helping Wilma to do the same. "I have to go now," she said, adjusting the backpack on her shoulder. "Go, dear. The world needs people like you." As Joyce walked to her first class, she touched the small pin on her backpack. That moment at the pool, which could have been just a forgotten incident at a party, had become a turning point in her life. A simple choice, to help when others merely watched, had opened a new path. And as she climbed the steps of the building, Joyce knew that regardless of the challenges ahead, she had found her place in the world. Not at the center of her own needs, but at the intersections where she could make a difference in the lives of others. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.